Okay, Jackie, laughing at me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah,
Good morning,
that was a
everybody.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, I woke up in a shitty mood, and then I was in an okay mood, and now I'm in like a poor mood. So let me express myself, and then I'll just get it out of the way. I'll burden everyone else with it.
Just
First of all,
do it.
the lighting in here sucks, and I tried to repair it, and then it didn't
Uh-huh.
because I have this dumb light, and it works on a USB.
Huh?
And so now I don't have an open USB port here.
Yeah, I'm wanting you to
So
just unplug. You need all.
yeah, no, I listen, I don't know. And then we were talking about what's coming out of my nose, which frankly I'm not happy
Right,
with.
right.
I'd
It was
rather nothing.
quite attractive.
Yeah, so I'm
It,
just
it
being
was
really
a great conversation.
well. You didn't see it. I just described it to you.
I'm good.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm good,
Uh,
thank you.
I don't understand why this. I've heard this from a lot of people, by the way. Whatever's going around or has gone around, right? For some reason, every single virus known to man has gone around over the past couple of months. And
Literally.
what I got has just been lingering and lingering. And I'm not the only one. People are saying it lingers forever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
Like I have my Isabel had the flu and then she was fine. And now like last week she was like all nasally and congested. So now I'm like it's just like ongoing. So trying to keep it away from everybody else because now and she's not getting she's definitely better today, but she had, scheduled blood work for this week. So now I'm like, oh, do I have to wait? It's just like just not it's a cycle. Just it's one person feels better than it's another it's just nonstop.
yes, it's just very bizarre. So listen, I got I hope I got all my complaining out of the way. But it's funny. I went to the doctor for this, and you know what he said? You know what I was diagnosed with?
What?
Lack of self love.
Wait, he wrote it. He wrote that down in your
I
chart.
am joking. Yeah, he put it on a prescription pad.
He wrote it down.
Yeah, he said, "Go get a facial and a massage."
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm that joke is kind of the segue into what our topic is. Listen, I feel like this topic has been done to death, even by us.
I
But
don't think so.
there are always layers, right?
Yeah.
There's always more to uncover. It's so super important. You might remember this. A few years ago, we did a live, and I had you guys list like the things that were most important to you, right?
Yes.
The things that you love the most,
Mm-hmm.
and there was like three or four of you, and nobody said themselves,
Nope.
not a single one, and it was very sobering. Like
Yeah.
like oh my
Yeah.
god,
Yeah.
it's like an absurd thing. So
Yeah.
like if we're not even going to make our own list, forget about being last.
Yeah.
You know,
Not even on it.
our car and our house and whatever and everything but ourselves. That's a little absurd.
Mm-hmm. It is. I mean, self love, obviously, it's February. Everybody's like, this is self love, month of self love, self care, but it should really be all the time. And I know we say that we've talked about this to death, but the truth is, we haven't. We always need constant reminders. And for some reason, there are certain times of the year, certain parts of the season where we tend to, more so than usual, push ourselves to the side. And we first it starts with okay, we have New Year, new us. Let's get crazy for the holidays. New Year's comes, we have our New Year's resolutions. Then February comes, and we're either holding strong or dipping off or not doing it. And we start to kick in. Now we've got the itch for the new season. We're always like chasing. We're always running and rushing the clock and never putting ourselves first. And I am 1,000% guilty of this. Like I have made, honest attempts or times where I thought I made a better attempt at doing things for myself, getting an exercise in. I'll do other things, make other things a priority. And never, ever do I prioritize myself to the fullest
Yeah, but
first.
due respect, Jackie, you've been saying that for years now.
And I always go back into the same vicious cycle. And I always notice that it's the same time of year. So I don't know if it's like the craziness, the roller coaster of life. And then I'll hold strong where I'm doing it all for myself, and then I don't. and then I come back, and it's
It's
such a
hard.
magic
It's
fit.
hard to break out of patterns.
So hard.
And that could be, content for another day. By the way, do you have a recipe for today?
I do actually.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's do the recipe first, then let's get into it.
So this is something. So this is a little bit of a hybrid. So this would be a post-program recipe. We can tweak it for on program, which is great. We use cottage cheese a lot on program because one, it's a great source of protein. It's super filling, and it really does take on the flavor of whatever you're making. So this is cottage cheese, almond flour, Lily's chocolate chips, cinnamon, vanilla. You mix it together, you have yourself cookie dough.
So that sounds pretty amazing. I do want a little caveat here.
Mhm.
So that is not for the detox portion of the
Nope,
program, obviously,
this is
right?
not.
When would someone use this?
This is post program. This is phase 4 and beyond.
Well, and maybe phase 4 because you have to test out the almond flour
Yeah,
first, right?
correct.
Almonds, just so everyone knows, nuts and seeds in general have certain chemicals in them, and those chemicals are inflammatory, and very often they're triggers for weight gain.
Yes.
So they have to be tested out because everyone has a different threshold.
Yep. Now, I'm one, and this is, obviously don't knock it till you try it. I loathe the idea of cottage cheese. I would never even think to consume it into the program, and not even my first round. It was, I think, my second round where I was like, all right, let me give it a shot. And I started to get creative and use it. Well, maybe it was the end of my first round. I don't really remember. But when I started to use it, oh my God, what a game changer. It added texture to my food, and I would remove the lumps. I'd puree it. It would make my cauliflower mash creamier. It would make my a dessert. I would just
The
use
key
it.
is pureeing. It has to be processed in
It
some
has
way
to be
because,
processed.
yeah,
I
just
can't
regularly it's boring and yeah.
no,
Okay.
but the idea of the texture being associated with the taste, it does not. It does not. So it really does take on whatever flavor that you are making it with. And I have to tell you, this cottage cheese bowl, I would call it a cookie dough bowl, a protein bowl. My kids love it. I love it. My husband, I've told friends, I was like, no way. And I'm like, yes. And now if you look at it online, it's viral. It's like a big deal.
It sounds amazing. By the way, if you're just joining us, Jackie just gave her recipe, but we're going to be talking about self-love and self-care today. That's the topic. It's an important topic. You want to hear, we're going to try to approach it from a different way. First, let me say this, Jack. When you first told me that this was today's topic, I was like, uh-oh, I'm going to get in trouble. Self-love, really? Like,
You
what
always
am I
find,
trying to
you
do?
always find something to get in trouble for.
Yeah, no, so it has none of those implications, people, if that's where you went in your head. Which apparently that's what I did. But here's what I want to say about self-love. We've talked about it a lot. I feel like we've talked about it ad infinitum.
Hmm.
And we try to emphasize to people to put themselves first.
Yes.
And yet, as you said, the tendency is to fall back into that pattern where you're not doing it.
Correct.
I feel like there are people who to put themselves first means actually confronting themselves.
Hmm.
And they'd rather help other people, therefore they never have to confront themselves. They
Hmm.
never have to figure out who they are.
Hmm.
So that's a trap that people get into. It's avoidance behavior in
Yeah.
some ways, right? If you stop for a minute and if you actually, confront yourself and your demons, that's difficult.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of self-love is supposed to be something positive. Self-care should be something positive. You're doing something good for yourself, right? When I say that out loud, and I'm like, you should. I'd be the first one to tell a friend, you should do that for yourself. You deserve that. But then when I say it out loud or put pen to paper, it has a negative tendency to it, right? It has a negative tone where you feel like
Like selfish.
selfish, self-love, there's no we, it's me. And those are the things that it's actually the opposite, right? Like even when I'm trying to teach my children or in discussion, like help others, do for others, show for more, step up. And I'm like, I'm asking a lot of them to do for others, but I'm not stopping to say ever for them to do something for themselves.
Right.
So even if it's something they enjoy doing, iPad time or a game or something that they love and enjoy doing. Yeah, of course, I'm encouraging that behavior, but I'm like, wow, I'm not even telling my children to take a second for themselves. We get so caught up in doing the right thing and thinking about others that more times than not, more people will always naturally gravitate towards doing something for anybody else but themselves. I know very few people, and we have multiple groups of friends, and from all different parts of our life. Longtime friends, new friends that are super close to us, like family. Um, and there are very few that I know that actually take the time, dedicate 1 hour a day to working out, half hour a day to working out, doing things for themselves consistently. So, it's nice to do it once in a while. It's great. But having an actual regimen of doing something, part of your routine to reward yourself so that you can, like, you can't give from an empty
Well,
cup,
listen,
right?
clearly not everyone thinks about working out as rewarding themselves. So some people,
Something, right.
you have to, but yeah, we have to delve into what it is. So let me start out with this little factoid. Um, Entrepreneurs, like at high level entrepreneurs,
Hmm.
they spend more money on enhancements than almost anything else, enhancing themselves,
Yeah.
making themselves better.
Yeah.
Okay. I am not a high level entrepreneur. However, this is something that I do too, right? I'm always taking courses, this almost every week
Hmm.
and whatever. So this is, I
Better.
think, interesting and valuable. I
Yeah.
was taking a look at some stuff as part of something I was doing last week. And, and I was looking at a time where I violated my own integrity, right? And it was very upsetting for me. Like if you break your own code, you violate your own integrity, right?
Absolutely.
But the thing is, I could not put my finger on what it was exactly that I violated. And then I realized that I didn't have any actual written code or policy for myself. I mean,
Right.
what they're suggested for us, whether it be the Bible or self-help books or whatever. So as an exercise, I actually sat down and I wrote my code.
Oh.
Code for living, right? You can call it an honor code or a moral code or what have you. And I wrote that out, and I think I have 16 items on it. And I look at it every day. I don't. I'm not going to share it now unless it's something you really want to hear. But anyone who's interested, who wants, I mean, I would be happy to share it with you. But
Yeah.
the thing is, that's mine. I had to choose it. Did I look at books? Yes, but I had to choose it for myself. And I feel like, most people have not done that. And then
Right.
like confused about who they are and what they stand for. And when you don't know that and you compromise, you're,
Hmm.
then right there you're starting that slide downwards.
Yes.
That makes
Yeah. It does. There's a point in time where someone wakes up and they say, I need to do something different. I need something. I need change. I need something's just not working anymore, right? Whatever it is that's going on in your life, something brought you to this place where you feel like you need to focus on you to get back or to start fresh. And I think it's really important. Like to say like that, it's funny. You always like, oh yeah, I have these ideas and these thoughts, but then to put it on pen and paper, it kind of makes it real.
yeah.
And I think
Put
it's
it on
very
your
important
phone.
to see it. It's like journaling. Yeah, it's like journaling, right?
Yeah.
You're putting it down and now it's out there, right? You put it into existence, even if you're not sharing it per se, but you're putting it down there. And it's like, whoa, now I have to look at this. Now I'm really facing that I need to do something.
And so there's a lot of clarity. Now, by the way, I mean, I violated it almost immediately. So, and that's frustrating for me because, life is such that we're always faced with decisions and
Oh yeah.
are compromises. But
Yes, of
at
course.
least it's there. I know what I did. And one of my rules, one of my policies is that, correct any deviation from the code as quickly and aggressively as possible.
Okay.
So in other words, it's built
Face
in
it head
there
on.
because these things happen. But
Yeah.
if we violate our own integrity often enough, then our self love goes right out the window.
Absolutely.
So that's the different tweak on this conversation, because we usually talk about it in terms of things that we do for ourselves. You know,
Hmm.
whether it be working out or getting a massage or hair and makeup. That kind of self care is invaluable.
Yep.
It really starts more internally than that.
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely deeper, and I think that as we get older with life experiences and things that come, we don't know the days are numbered essentially, and what we have going on from day to day, you don't know, right? We can only plan so much. And the truth is, there's a bigger picture out there for us that we will embrace as it comes. And as things arise, as events come up, and situations or feelings, once they come to light, or that have been suppressed, you don't really realize how much you're neglecting yourself.
Hmm.
I think there are, and I think I'm very much, and it's a good thing and a bad thing. I think I've always been a people pleaser. I think but in a positive way, where I always felt like I genuinely want to make people happy. Like I don't, even if it means sacrificing my own emotion or feeling. So I would always make more of an effort to take two extra steps, to do a little bit more, to do a little bit extra. And then, as of course life happens and fast forward, down line different situations, I've been hurt a couple of times.
Yes.
And I've noticed like I stop and then I'm left with kind of like egg on my face a little bit, where I'm like, I need to kind of wake up here. Like what? Now I can't pull myself out of it.
Jack, listen, I'm sorry, I'm jumping out of my skin. I have to ask you some questions here.
Uh-oh.
All right. No. So first of all, you're saying that you put yourself last, you neglect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What would not neglecting yourself look like?
Not neglecting myself?
Yeah, like do you even have that conception in mind so you would know it?
Not an overall. I've come to realize it now. Okay, so I'm like, this is still. I like to say it's really fresh. I've said it many times, but really embracing it and knowing what I have to do differently is new to me. If that makes any sense. Like I feel like I'm at a place where I've discussed. I've taken control of my health and actions and doing the right things, and I've kind of like tiptoed around creating a new routine, but I have managed to find more ways to not put exercise first, let's say, or a mental break, or stopping to read a book. I used to read all the time. I never pick up a book anymore.
And that is an enhancement. We talk about enhancement. Yes, reading,
absolutely.
educating yourself.
Absolutely. And it used to be where I would, when I worked in the city prior to meeting you, Dr. R, prior to kids, I had a very
started.
Yeah. Exactly. But I would read and I would have that. It was not even realizing that was an outlet, right? I would take the time and I would read, and whether it be an actual page turning book or if I would be on my iPad on the express bus to the city, and I would take the time. My daughter was born and I would take little time here and there. It was different and she was little. And then I was full on mommy mode, right? And then I embraced it, loved it. I didn't feel like I was missing anything. Complete. I felt fulfilled in every way. Now that they're older and they're their own people, right? They're finding their own thing. We're doing things. They're busy in activities, and we're embracing that life with them. I've realized that there are certain parts of my life I'm like, oh, I kind of miss like I've never been one to just sit still. I'm always on the go. We're sitting up, our tables connected to our island. We're eating dinner. I'm sitting next to them because I want to be in it with them. I want to, and I'm definitely embracing the moment. But I've realized there are certain things that I stopped doing altogether that completely faded out.
Well, so here's my next question. I might have several. You know how I am. I'll put a light on your face, and
literally tell me. Good.
Yeah, I'll just keep grinding away until we get to the core. So what policy? We were talking about that, about having a code, right? So let's pretend that you were creating a code. What policy would you put in place so you don't violate your own self-love or whatever it is that gets you into trouble with your relationship with yourself?
I think that
Dr. Phil.
I hate Dr. Phil on me. I think that obviously, it's easy to say making the time. It's so generic.
Of course, that's what I'm saying. We're not talking about glib things.
There's nothing Right. I mean, if I say, "Oh, make the time." Okay, I can make the time. I'm making the time for a million things. Why am I not focusing on this? I think it's really thinking about it in reverse, right? So now that I've realized that there are certain things that I want to do again or start afresh that I've never done before, it's not just making time, it's kind of working in reverse. Knowing when I do these things how good I feel, that would kind of be my starting point. Reminding myself where this is a good thing for me. This is a good thing for me to be better inside out. Therefore, I'm better for everyone around me.
Understood. So it filters down into what is the policy or rule that you need to put in place in order so that you don't violate it, or you're less likely to, or you know what you're violating
I think it's boundaries. I think placing boundaries, honestly.
specifically.
Specifically, like, I mean, it would have to be like, okay, you know what? I'm off my phone as of 8:30 at night. Done.
Okay.
Putting that phone down, no distraction, removing distraction, because that's what it is. I feel like there's so many, and it's a split second, right? So it's hard to say like, oh, how did this one text message distract me from doing something? Well, I'll tell you how. I answered this. I got caught up in a conversation. I was helping so and so. Now it's on my mind. It delayed me 5 minutes here, finishing this up, and then as I'm going along, I'm picking up and doing whatever else has to be done. Before you know it, it's 9:30.
Well, I'm going to tell you something that is going to make you smile.
Uh-uh.
So, as a result of of writing down what my code is, last week I got off of Twitter X for good.
For good?
For good.
For you, that's a big deal. I'm proud of you. That's a big deal.
It's not easy to do. It's very addictive. The drama, the conflict is very addictive. It's toxic, right?
Oh yeah.
But I had to do it. I had to come to that decision. So
Mhm.
I didn't just put it on hold. Like
No.
I had Twitter friends that were like, no, no. I
Go go.
was like, no. So I deactivated the account. I deleted it from my devices.
I was gonna say you removed. Did you actually delete?
Oh, I deleted. No, it's a done deal. I mean, I
Good.
wasn't messing around with it
Good.
because it was just a realization of what that kind of constant disagreement leads to internally.
You don't even realize you're bringing that energy into your space.
I realized.
And it's one of those things where, I mean, listen, we can't turn everything off, right? It's how we navigate through it. But I've noticed that because of my personality and how I go through things, I already know how I'm going to react to this. I already know that if I embrace this situation and don't stop and make the time, I know I'm going to regret this almost instantly. Or if I don't right now, 2 weeks from now when I didn't get those exercises in, I'm gonna put on the outfit that I have planned for a party, and I'm gonna be like, I just should have made the time. And then what am I doing? I'm already setting the negative tone. Like I'm already taking away the positive experience that I'm going to have. But that's with everything, right? You know, we live a busy life. I'm sure I feel like everybody does nowadays, right? This is just the world we're living in. Everything is go, 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 quick, quick, quick. It's always a race to the finish, but there's no finish line, right? And I want to embrace everything that's there. And I'm like, the only way I can actually do that is by creating boundaries. Like fully, you don't have full control of everything, but it's like, these are my top 3 priorities for the day.
Right.
This is what I
Well,
have to
that's right, but and that's like a scheduling thing, right? But let me suggest a possible policy for you.
do. Okay.
And you could either take it on or not. That's the thing about policies. They're generated by yourself and they're enforced by yourself, essentially,
Mhm.
right? So the policy might be something like uh, never do anything that I know uh, it will not benefit me as well.
Correct.
That would be some example, or never do anything that violates
It
my
has to work both ways.
or never right. There always has to be an exchange or
Mhm.
whatever that is that's real for you.
Mhm.
That would be something that would be firm that you could work with.
Absolutely.
I
That's a
hear
good
from some of the people
point.
who are on here about this conversation, about this topic of self love, and the fact that we're looking at it from a little bit of a different place, right? I mean, we often look at the things that we do, self care, whether that's exercise, whether that's makeup, whatever that is, and that's all part of it, right? That's a deservingness part of it. But we're looking at it from a place of really integrity, and what we do, or what we allow others to do to that degrades us,
Yeah.
and that
Takes away.
esteem go down for ourselves, right?
Right. And and if you're the type of individual where you feel like you to give and do for more, and you're the go-to for everybody, I've said it before, you can't pull from an empty glass, a pot, whatever you want to refer to it as.
It's like something you got from like your mother or your grandmother. That's one of those old.
Well, my mother definitely says it, but it's true. But you know what? My mom, listen, I love my mother more than anything, and she knows it too. She's guilty of this also.
Yeah.
Guilty, and it just naturally, and I say, to break that cycle, and I mentioned this to you before getting on the live. A friend of mine had posted a quick live over the weekend, and she was actually with us this weekend at swim, and it was super busy. And she said, I am going to yoga. She goes, this is me declaring my self-love and self-care. Like, I'm going to yoga. And she goes, meanwhile, my husband doesn't think I should be going because they had a million things going on.
Right.
And there was a sense of overwhelm for him because there were just things happening. There was, she said they had workers at the house and a cleaning service coming in, and, they had a tight schedule because, they have young kids and activities here and running here. And she goes, it's 1 hour. 1 hour.
Yeah. If it all falls apart because of that hour doing yoga, there are bigger problems.
Exactly. And that's it. And she was like, she was stern about it. And I heard it in her voice, and it sat with me that when I ran into her, I was like, how was yoga? She was like, it was good. I was like, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, good for you for going, because, you stop, you almost have to really remind and self-check yourself, literally, where she's like, no one's stopping me. And I'm like, you know what? That's the attitude. That's the perspective you sometimes need, where it's like, nothing is going to stop me from being happy except for yourself. So if you don't start here, everything else is not going to mesh. It's not going to go. It just doesn't work.
And Jack, I have to tell you something, just so we're clear that our problems are self-generated.
A lot of them.
My life is the opposite of yours.
And what's
Get invited everywhere. I don't invite people. I don't host my family. That's not a consideration.
Right.
I have all the time in the world to do. Nobody has all the time in the world, right?
Yeah, but you have.
But to do those things, right? Nothing is stopping me from that.
Yeah.
So there are people that don't have that exact problem. Now, I feel like when you're talking about yourself and your peer group, which are, mothers.
Yes.
And that's a little different thing. And there's always some degree of self-sacrifice.
Oh, yeah.
But the question is, I feel like, for parents, right? Do you lose who you are? I mean, it's only natural that when you have a little one to say, okay, yes, I would lay down my life for this one.
Oh,
That's built into the cake.
Yeah.
That's built into the cake.
Mm-hmm.
But as you know,
mm-hmm.
there are mothers who just forget who they are completely.
Oh, yeah.
Live through their children,
Mm-hmm.
Live vicariously. Their whole lives are the kids. The kids are happy, they're happy. The kids are upset, they're not. We had another employee who for weeks was miserable because the kid was miserable because whatever it was, I don't know, got a bad grade, or a boy broke up with her, or, didn't make the varsity cheerleading, whatever it was, right? Yeah. And I was like, can't you just allow your child her experience?
Yeah, there's it's funny. So I don't feel like the word lose yourself. Like, I don't feel like I have, or my husband. If anything, we've created a new self-existence as well. Like, we've created definitely.
You added to.
Yes. It's definitely enhanced our life in general because it's just a new perspective, right? It's like living through the kids and their experiences. And I'm like, this is just awesome. And what we're able to give them, compared to how it was when we were growing up, things have just changed so much in years. Yeah. And I think that it's not so much losing yourself, but finding yourself anew and finding now what makes you happy, right? Your life is taking a different direction, but it's a matter of, Is it what's making you happy, or is it a matter of just following along with what you think is supposed to make you happy?
Right.
So there's a lot of people that unfortunately feel they're not fulfilled. I 1,050% am, but there are things where I'm like, okay, now that they're getting older, I'm like, I kind of want to start doing, it's a different perspective. They're not in diapers. They're not, it's a little bit more self-dependent, and they do things differently where I can enjoy it with them.
But let's make a distinction, right?
Mhm.
Because if life is a series of concentric circles with you in the middle, right,
Yeah.
and then the
Uh-huh.
family, the
Uh-huh.
kids outside of that, and then the friends outside of, then work, and then what have you, right? And that's
Mhm.
really how it is. And if you have a balanced life, you're playing on all those fields, and you're not, they're all at a pretty high level instead
Yes.
of you're sacrificing one for the other, right?
Correct.
So yes, what you said is how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be, you have children, you get to see through their eyes. It's
Yeah.
hanging on to who you are,
Yeah. Of course.
right?
It's bigger than that.
But there is, I think, that real risk, and this is observational, right?
Totally.
For mothers, because
Yeah.
I've not had that experience. Although apparently I can.
And you told, yeah.
So just observationally, though, I feel like there are mothers who they lose themselves. It's actually a theme of movies and television. I mean, Kramer versus Kramer, like the mother went into California to find herself for a few years, and even in like Sex in the City, uh,
Yeah.
Charlotte's complaining about her kids and like
Yeah.
doesn't know who she is, and she's
Yeah.
taking a stand for herself, and
Right. Right. Right.
right? So there is a lot to consider there about, not letting that happen.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said about, for lack of better words, like not waiting for the shit to hit the fan. I mean,
What shit are you referring to?
no, well, literally, like, I mean, there are some people that just kind of let it go and let this buildup of emotion just sit with them. So whether it be a parent or someone who without a family yet, or maybe just single, independent, not looking for that. Instead of waiting and waiting and waiting for the right time for the right answer to just kind of pop up and hit you in the face, kind of thing. It's good to embrace it as it comes. Circling it back to being self-love, self-care, putting yourself first, making yourself a priority, so that you feel that as a standalone individual, anything that you do just exudes positivity. You want to feel like whatever it is that you're doing makes you feel fulfilled, you're paying it forward. If you do that on a regular basis or feel comfortable enough by facing that, a lot of these obstacles are a lot more approachable.
Right.
It's easier to get through instead of going around or over, you're going straight through.
Yeah, but I do want to say something about this though, because
Mhm.
it kind of I might get in trouble, but it kind of pisses me off though, because
Tell me.
I see situations, whether it's with my own family, whether it's with clients here, I see situations where, and again, we're talking specifically about that creature known as mom, right? Where moms, they'll come in and they'll say, like, I'm finally going to do something for myself, and it's like this big dramatic
Weird.
moment, and they're taking this step. Like, why is that necessary? First of all, you set up your life so you didn't have to consider yourself at all, and then you get pissed off about it. On the other side, when you've trained everyone around you to sit on their asses,
You enabled it.
right? When you more than enabled, created,
Hmm.
and then you take that stand like everyone around you is just
Holding you back.
from you and right, nonsense. So it's just a game. Now I don't mean to be judgmental because we all play stupid games with ourselves, right?
Always, yeah.
But if anything, I just mean to elucidate that reality that it is a game. It is something that's self-created.
It is. I mean, like I said, there's a lot more that we have control of that we don't give ourselves credit for.
Right.
And I think that embracing is the first step. Like, I mean, acknowledging the fact that, one, it's not selfish to take care of yourself. It is not selfish to want to take care of yourself or to do something different that may put you first. It actually, in turn, might help you with whether it be family life or work life or marital life, whatever you have going on, or not at all. Maybe it's just you that you have to worry about. and your friends and family think that it's selfish of you. It is not. It is not. It
Oh,
is.
they'll use it. There are times they'll use it to manipulate you.
Yes, and
Like,
we've heard that a lot from clients where
but
somebody is
again,
not
that's
supportive.
yeah, that's
Exactly.
generally self-created also. So again, it comes back to really having that code.
And yeah,
It comes back to knowing what it is that you stand for, what's
correct.
acceptable and what's not acceptable. If
Absolutely.
part of your code is that you are going to take care of yourself, regardless of the thoughts, comments, feelings of other people. Then if you violate it, that's your violation.
Yeah, you did it. You did it.
That's right. So I would really encourage people to do that. Like, and again, it you have to first confront yourself, and you have to figure out what it is that you stand for, and then you have to guard that space,
Hmm.
not viciously, but you
No,
have to have that line, whether it be with yourself or it be with other people.
I agree. And I think that one of the first steps in doing is remind yourself that nothing to feel guilty over. There's nothing wrong.
Guilt is a game that people play with
Yeah,
themselves.
it's one of those things that no matter what you do in life, there might be someone that you come across that's going to make you feel bad about it, or that might pass judgment, and that's on them. That's their own issues and insecurities, not yours.
Yeah, listen, we all transgress, right? And we all beat ourselves up for it. But
Oh yeah.
for the most part, I mean, guilt is just a way of reaffirming that we're good people because only a person would feel bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like a piece of shit wouldn't care.
No.
I would feel
No.
guilty. So I feel guilty, therefore I'm so good.
Yeah. No.
It's
It's
not. It's probably not always that, but
no, but
it's a
but
goal.
it's one of those things that should not be the push forward. That should not be the excuse for someone else to get ahead.
Right.
Making you feel guilty. That's not how it works.
That's right. That's right.
You
So
know.
okay, how shall we sum up this particular live?
There's I mean, let's say three things, right? I think genuinely facing it, just suck it up. Name one thing. If you don't go big, don't do something that's something so crazy out of your realm or your routine. Choose one thing that you know will give you a little extra love for yourself, and take that time to do it for yourself. So that's a one. So definitely embrace it. Create boundaries if need be. So whatever it is that's going to help you accomplish whatever your happiness would be, do that. Just start small though. Start small. So like I'm using exercise as an example because I haven't really been as active as I'd like to be. And I see everybody else around me is making the time to do it. And it's not that it's not motivating me. I'm not making the appropriate time. So I'm going to put those walls up and say, nope, this is my time. Give me that 20 minutes. Give me that half hour. I'm not asking a lot. Put those boundaries up for sure. So that's two things. And lastly, don't feel bad about it. Don't feel bad. And it's not just now, it's indefinitely. And I know we go through these ups and downs, but definitely take this time for yourself to figure out what it is that will make you happy. Start small and then add to it.
Yeah.
Don't feel guilty.
Where I came to with this conversation, again, is related, but there's overlap, but a little bit of a different place, which is start out with integrity, start out with wholeness,
Yes.
and that's a matter of knowing what you stand for, what you're violating, because I feel like um, the self love, for lack of a better term, will drop to the degree that you're not following your own code, to the degree that
Correct.
you're violating your own integrity. And I think in order to do that, you have to know what your code is. You have to,
Mhm.
actually put down what it is that you stand for.
I agree.
Otherwise, it's just a vague sense.
I agree.
But of course, then, inevitably when you do violate it, because nobody ever walking the earth has not,
Happens.
forgiveness and correction is necessary.
Right. Absolutely. Give yourself grace. You have to bounce back.
That's
Things, it does not happen overnight, especially if you're one that does not do this often. I noticed for myself and Dr. R for 6 years that you know me, I've had great stretches that I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing it again," because you're so used to doing it for so long, for 39 years.
Yes, it's very hard to change long habits.
Yes.
There are internal resistance
Battles.
we're
Yep.
not even aware of.
Oh yeah.
There are decisions that we've made that we don't even know. We just end up following them automatically.
Absolutely.
And that's a whole other thing. But that's a good place to end off, I think, because this
I like it.
is a big topic. So, all right, we will see everyone next week then.
Yes. See you next week. Have a great week, guys.
Shalom.
Bye.